Ira the Morang Nindaga, Yuendu Jazz, Radri Yana Baladu, Bunurong Wurundjeri, Naragan. I'm not at home. I've muddled up all my language. Hi everyone, my name is Jazz Money. I'm starting the event, and so I'm going to also just take a moment to acknowledge the beautiful country that we're on, which has been cared for by the Bunurong and the Wurundjeri since time immemorial, and what a gift it is to be here with all of you, and what a deadly crowd. I'm going to read some poems. We're all going to be reading some poems, but I also just want to, shout out to all the mob in the room, and particularly all the elders. It's such an honour to be here with you all. I'm a bit sick of all my stuff today, so I'm going to read some new poems. But I might need a timer. Oh yeah, I'll just look at my clock here. Thank you. Now I can see it. So the first poem I'm going to read is called Still the Night Parrot Sings. It was written as a response to an exhibition that Dean Cross, one of my artists, Dean Cross, had in Sydney this year, I don't know, I've lost all sense of time. But yeah, it's also, the other title is Outback Icarus, which was really the kind of theme of the exhibition. Watch the boy fall sky to dust and through. He doesn't land on that promised confetti, but instead feels the crunch, something that slips through dreams and cannot be held in morning light, landing hard on a cold, hard thing. It sounds like a truck tearing along the highway seen by the country it crosses unseeing. It looks like a cricket bat turned tired, yelling out in Boxing Day backyards of almost and could have, years gone, almost, and he could have been a... 'Cause is it true that you can move away and slip into a new skin, polish up the nasal of your accent and find ways to never tell the full story of the thing that you will learn the name for in the city? What is it that they say? It's only once there's a distance between yourself and poverty that you might be able to see it was there all along. Maybe it lives in the back shed. Maybe it lives under those creaking floors, and if you wait long enough in that city, you might even begin to recall housing insecurity and a black eye as some sort of ridgy-dig bullshit badge of genuine ascendance. I heard him whisper, "Did you see him before the fall? 2 fists raised and back gleaming, a proper champion for us eyes to gaze upon. Maybe that uncle built him up wrong ways inside this labyrinth, but here's the thing. I am so sick of you force-feeding those myths of elsewhere upon this soil, where we have story plenty, and it doesn't end like this. You wrote him to fall, but I can see him rising. It sounds like a whistle in dawn light, the call of soft returning. It's dark out with only the headlights to reveal feather and confetti falling. But yes, cuz, still the night parrot sings. It looks like a man returning, adjusting the flaking ghost gum print hanging proud above the laundry sink. And if you look at him just right, in the city-like glow of elsewhere, I can see that story true. They said falling, but I say rising. I say floating. I say returning. Thank you. I can't even remember what this one's called. I don't think I've given it a title. I don't think I've performed it before. But the first line is, "If that ghost is still here come morning," so maybe we'll just title it that. If that ghost is still here come morning, brew a cup and go out walking with the memory of those you couldn't heal. Every night comes with new intention, but I don't know how to read the wind, and this salt water has me thirsty for a current that knows my return. Sister, I've been trying to listen to this story, but every word comes out backwards and every shadow meets in long dark, where self goes disappearing. Go careful. There's rules for whistling night and stronger ones that can't be taught if you didn't grow small under the eyes of moonlit knowings. There's places I didn't go in time. This city thudded over sacred site, curls with ghost. Watch how certain places bubble with horror or yearning. I'm looking at these maps, gazing from below. I'm walking with these ghosts upon grid, over drain. Sister, we're marvelling at shadows writ upon these dreams by ghosts who walk here still. This will be my last one. It's from my book that came out last year. It's the closest thing I've ever had to like a viral fame, because it got picked up by NITV and then went quite well on their like Instagram. So it's like an ode to my probably most successful flame. But yeah, it's called If I Write a Poem. If I write a poem, it's for the pen, banned from my grandmother's hand. And if I write, it's for our language stolen from the mouths of babies in cribs. And if I write a poem, it's so that our children will read some truth of their family. And if I write, it's because our story hasn't been written by us, for us. And if I write, it's because I hate the structure, the capitalism, the greed, the fury. I write a poem because I love this country. I write a word because I love my daughter who isn't yet born. I write because there is no truth yet, no justice. And if I write a poem, it's because my mother can't understand why I weep into the soil, but she cries with me all the same. And if I write, it's because I love a woman and others do and cannot write about their love. And if I write a word, it's to stop me from burning within. It's to stop me from burning the city down and baring my breasts, wailing with my clapsticks a song that boils in my chest, in my soul, that no one has taught me the words to yet. I write a poem because I was raised off country and I yearn and yearn for a place I don't hold that holds me. And if I don't write a poem, it's for the magnificence of lightning, of cicadas in chorus, rhythms too beautiful to capture. And if I don't write a word, it's because I love this country and all the ways I love her burns. All the ways I love her burns. And if I don't write, it's because I love a woman and that is a sacred thing. And if I don't write, it's because my mother loves me every way she can. And if I don't write, it's because I can't bring my baby into a world on fire. And if I don't write, don't think I have nothing to say. If I don't write, don't think I have nothing to say. And if I don't write, it's because this language, these letters, are not worthy. And if I write a word on the inside of my mouth, in the dust, in the sand, it's because I know no other truth at all. Thank you. Thank you. Mandangu.
Kia ora koutou katoa. I'm coming to you from Aotearoa, New Zealand, and I just want to acknowledge and pay respect to the tangata whenua, the people of the land of Nam, the elders in the room, and our ancestors who are with us always. Ma lore soifua maua, malelangi e mama. My name's Tusiata Avia. I am Samoan and white New Zealand. So I come from, my ancestors are the colonised and the colonisers. It's an interesting place to be, and I'm going to read you 2 or 3 poems today from my latest book with a scary cover called The Savage Colonizer Book. So you probably get kind of the vibe of where I'm coming from. So I was looking through this book and realised that Australia actually makes quite a few appearances. So I thought I would read from a couple of those. I might have to excuse myself for some of my language if it needs excusing. So this first one is talks about, well, there's a reference to St. Barbara gold mining company, which has taken over Simberi Island in Papua New Guinea. Fucking St. Barbara. What happens when you fall for an Australian gold mine? I'm not speaking in metaphors here. I mean the mechanics, the walls, the maintenance, the stock exchange for the March 31st quarter, the whole St. Barbara Company Limited, who own the island economy on Simberi, the 1,100 Indigenous people, the Cape Coloureds brought over from South Africa who look like the rock, but with 2 grams of gold per tonne of earth. Corporate responsibilities stop in the hole between my legs. You've got to dig a big hole to get to that ore body. You might even have to remove a mountain and then dig another big hole in the ground, the size of 21 football fields, to get to that ore body's ass. How long can I keep his hands off? How long? Where can I hide? Inside the water? Even the sea is full of rapists. He prowls a mile under the surface of my skin. He has large grinding wheels in his cock. It rips me up like I'm concrete, like I'm the sea floor. He wins the St. Barbara 2020 Digger of the Year award for his performance. 93,000 ounces of gold out of Simberi. He kisses me before his walk up to the podium as they play You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet. I can't tell if you're clapping or it doesn't matter. So I will read you this one called The Pacific Solution. So this talks about or is around the refugee detention centres, Australia's refugee detention centres, which of course hold thousands of people still. And Manus Island is probably the one that comes to mind as being the most famous, which was shut down a few years ago. But those centres still continue in Nauru, in PNG, and Christmas Island, and no doubt in other places. And there's a reference here to sewing up the mouth, which was a protest used by refugees at their abominable treatment. The Pacific solution: put all the refugees on Manus. They will sew their mouths up red, kill themselves on concrete floors there in Pacifica Mecca. They will sew their mouths up red. Put all the refugees on Nauru, there in Pacifica Mecca, every island Jerusalem. Put all the refugees on Nauru, slash their throats and watch the sun. Every island Jerusalem, close their eyes in the island sun, slash their throats and watch the sun, watch their children die beside them, close their eyes in the island sun. Fair Australia will guard them closely and put all the refugees on Manus. And this last one is about my good friend, Captain James Cook, who landed here 250 and a bit years ago. I know he made a big stop over your way too. So I decided I would write a poem to honour the 250th anniversary of James Cook's arrival in New Zealand. Hey James, yeah, you, in the white wig and that big Endeavour, sailing the blue, blue ocean like a big asshole. Fuck you, bitch. James, I heard someone shoved a knife right up into the gap between your white ribs at Kealakekua Bay. I'm going to go there, make a big makahiki luau, cook a white pig, feed it to the dogs, and fuck you up, bitch. Hey, James, it's us. These days we're driving around in SUVs looking for you, or white men like you, who might be thieves, or rapists, or kidnappers, or murderers, yeah, or any of your descendants, or any of your incarnations, because you know, hey bitch, we're gonna fuck you up. Tonight, James, it's me, Leilani, Danielle, and a car full of brown girls. We find you on the corner of the Justice Precinct. You've got another woman and a headlock, and I've got my father's pig hunting knife and my fist. And we're coming to get you, sailing around in your resolution, your friendship, your discovery, and your fucking free love. Watch your ribs, James. because I'm coming. With Kalani o Pu'u, Kane Kapolei, Kanaina, Kiawe o Pala, Kula Ili Moku, who is a god, and Nua'a, who is king with a knife. And then, James, then we're gonna fuck you up for good, bitch. Thank you.
Nyinda Bundy. First, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians and the spirits of this country, which I'm privileged to be on this afternoon. I've travelled from Geraldton across and escaped the state of Western Australia to do some readings for you this afternoon. So my name's Charmaine Papertalk Green, Charmaine Bibalawangi, and I'm a Yamaji woman from the Yamaji Nation, Wajiri, Barimaya and Nunagari Willinyu. I'm going to read a couple of new poems for you today. Data Sovereignty Words. This is my data, and this is my sovereign right. No more whitewashing. Let truth be told. Dear Australian whitewasher, why do you find it so difficult to understand my kind and my people? Is it because of a whitewashed Australian popular psyche? My kind, you know, the fair-skinned, not real Aboriginal kind? Yep, that is me, the fair-skinned one with a dark-skinned mother, the one you tried to make feel different and displaced. Sorry, not sorry, to disappoint, but I do not feel different or displaced from my Yamaji cultural mob. I feel the exact opposite. Strong, Yamaji, proud, grounded, and defensively supportive of my culture. You continually tell me in meetings, in media, in print, online, and in person that I should be grateful for being rescued by your definition of civilised peoples and a civilised society. You wrote and spoke that my people, First Nations, Aboriginal, Yamaji, were to die out, and our culture and skin colour bred out to hide many Australian history truths. I emerged from the Australian mindsets of smooth the dying pillow and the half-caste problem. I was 21 years old in 1984 when Western Australian Lang Ancock, mining land thief, said, "The half-caste is where most of the trouble comes. I would dope up the water and then they were sterile and breathe themselves out. That would solve the problem." This was only 38 years ago. A white man's solution was to make my kind sterile, not have any children, and my lineage to end with me. The intention was always about making my kind disappear and making my ancestors and my culture invisible and taking, owning and keeping the land. Therefore I write, I protest, I talk, I tell my story. I am being me, yours truly, a strong surviving Yamaji woman. Now I'll move on to the next series of poems, which I was commissioned by National Gallery Victoria to write a series of poems in response to their UAU, Australian Portraiture, last year, which will be out this year. And I chose quite a few, 9 different artworks to respond to. Bringing together my bundle of kangaroo skin, emu feathers, kangaroo sinew, quandong and bush seeds, to stitch a woman's story of women storytellers, a story of First Nation women storytellers, women narratives of hands, eyes, energy, culture, identity, colonisation, decolonising, and a long, long line of ancestors. But now let me whisper call out to my grandmothers. Nyarlu, Jugunu, Abba, Ganthari. The line of grandmothers has called out to these women to pass on stories through their hands, eyes and energies, to break the glass ceilings of stereotypes when replying to "Who are you?" I tread gently in this story though, and in the space of time, place and peoples, First Nations peoples, women, holding hands, sharing energy, sharing connection to ancestors, country and culture. Looking back if we must, but remember the past is with us and being carried forward in our ideas, our actions, our thoughts, our memories, our cultural practices, our customs, our knowledge and our cultural identity. Through Nyarlu eyes, Nyarlu hands, Nyarlu energy and Nyarlu knowing we survive. Number 1, a response to Mrs. Wooden Here, 2013 by Carla Dickens. Ngana Nyinda, who are you? I am the face of many communities. I am the keeper of many knowledges. My head is wrapped in an outer scarf of generational trauma, sorrow and grief. But I am protected by deep culture. I am the grandmother youth seek within. A response to Possum Skin Cloak 2020 by Mari Clark. Ngana Nyinda, who are you? I am the gift of warmth and beauty. I am the grandmother in your dreams. I whisper amongst many about our old ways. You captured my whisper and with your hands stitched together our cultural practices. Nothing is ever lost, but found to those who listen. A response to Magic Weaver 2005 by Yvonne Kulmatri. Ngana Nyinda, who are you? I am the magic weaver, forever binding together the water, air, land, salt, soil, wind and grasses. We women are woven together from every ancestor. I am bound to my country and my country to me. I am the grandmother within every cell of your being. A response to Ngalam Ngalam Buru Ngalanjinbi 2019 by Shirley Purdy. Ngana Nyinda, who are you? I am the women artists in the many First Nations art centres, painting stories to be transmitted to our families, from connections to a full moon and a daughter tree, from touching the earth of country, memory and story, from taking the gift of cultural knowledge to the canvas. I am grandmother's memory and culture holder for tomorrow. A response to Self-Portrait 1999/2005 by Tracy Moffat. Ngana Nyinda, who are you? I am the I storyteller showing myself to you. I can create and change narratives from the black and white of life with instructions through to the rosy cheeks of a hand-coloured stereotype breaker. I am many grandmothers, many eyes, seeing and seeing, awakening narratives by looking to the distant future. A response to Warrior Without a Weapon 2019 by Naomi Hobson. Ngana Nyinda, who are you? I am every grandmother's grandson of ancestral country, First Nation men nurtured through maternal love in each campsite before a manhood life journey. I am as gentle as the sweet breeze and soft grass. My tears are carried with each trauma seen or felt. I am grandmother's sons, grandsons and great-grandsons. A response to oppression, repression, family portraits 2004 by Yoni Scarth. Ngana Nyinda, who are you? I am the First Nations family that could not be oppressed, repressed or written out of history. I am the love of family treasured down the generations. I am family strength rising from each heartbeat. Our family portraits remind this country we survived. I am the grandmother's seeds protected to flourish. A response to Federation Series 1901 to 2001. 2001 by Julie Dowling. Ngana Nyinda, who are you? I am the many Yamaji faces seen within the history archives of this cultural interface space. I am the First Nation faces of the many narratives endured since colonisation. I am the storyteller painting each face, giving each narrative a face, because our stories have never been faceless. A response to Matilda Nyambrai Nganawal 2020 by Brenda Croft. Ngana Nyinda, who are you? I am the First Nations women who fights for the rights of their people by being visible and with a voice in their communities and advocating in the corridors of Parliament houses and governments around Australia. I am First Nation women radiating a staunch, proud identity. I am grandmothers, granddaughters keeping fire and keeping the fire alive. But now let me whisper, call out to my grandmothers. Ngarlu Jugunu, Abba, Gantari. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Tony Birch. I'm a member of the Melbourne School of Discontent, and this is a reading from my long poem, The Eight Truths of Khan, which is dedicated to my great-grandfather, Buta Khan. Testimony presented to the collector, HM Customs, Flinders Street, Melbourne, on the 26th day of June, 1916. I am Buta Khan of 24 Young Street, Fitzroy, and I beg to apply for a certificate of exemption under the Immigration Restriction Act 1901, Section 4, to visit the country of India for a period of 6 months with my immediate family. On solemn oath, I undertake that I shall not return to Australia any relative expired, revoked, of dark skin, dark eyes, foreign tongue, or pagan habits, peculiar dress sense, exotic produce, or accompanying animals, livestock or wild. I attach 3 character references and 6 unmounted photographs, free full face, free profile. Self-attesting to my good character, please allow me to state that this day of 24 June 1916, I arose from bed and went into the bathroom to shave. In the cracked mirror, I saw a human being. I sat at the table in the kitchen with my wife and child. We breathed together and we ate a meal together. I then went to the wash house at the rear of the property and bathed my dark skin with disinfectant for some time. When I was satisfied that I had cleansed my physical body to the standard you require, Regulation 16, Section 2, I bathed a second time. Without your permission, my wife kissed my right cheek before I left the house for the working day. In the street, I greeted neighbours with a discreet nod of the head, and they returned the gesture, with the exception of the butcher on the nearest street corner, who cordially addressed me as nigger each morning. I hold no malice toward the man, as I have not been granted permission by your department to do so. During my working day selling haberdashery and supplementary goods door to door in several neighbourhoods, I smiled regularly and I robbed no one. I did not look upon a white woman's body, and when asked, I agreed that yes, I was fortunate to be allowed to reside in such a fair and prosperous nation. That evening I again sat with my wife and child. I again bathed, and my wife and I shared the same bed. If my application to travel is granted, and if I am in fact allowed to return to this fine country without displaying a proficiency of a second language, please intimate that fact to me at the above address. Yours faithfully, Mr. Bhuta Khan. Additionally note, the handprints of Bhuta Khan, both left and right, are on the back hereof, along with photographic evidence, both portrait and left and right profile. Book number 201, form number 21, duplicate number 107, certificate exempting from dictation test. I, Percy Whitten, the Collector of Customs, being Percy, a benevolent man, Percy, an upstanding Christian, Percy of the Order of Freemasons, Percy, a descendant of pioneers, hereby certify that Mr. Bhuta Khan, who claims to be a man, be granted permission to be exempt from the Immigration Restriction Act 1901 for a period of 3 years. To be certain, the Bhuta Khan who leaves this land is the same Bhuta Khan who returns, I submit to the Commonwealth the following description of him. Nationality, Indian. Age, 52 years. Build, workhorse. Complexion, dusky at sunset. Eyes, unknowable. Religion, unspeakable. Additionally note, the handprints of Bhuta Khan, both left and right, are on the back hereof, along with photographic evidence, both portrait and left and right profile. Customs and Excise Office, 3rd July 1916, Memorandum to the Officer in Charge of Police. In order for the Commonwealth to accept photographs of Mr. Bhuta Khan in evidence, the following procedure must be followed. Applicant Khan should be seen physically and compared to image held of him by Customs in the grey metal filing cabinet alongside the oven in the staff kitchen. The photograph in the filing cabinet must be shown by officer to be persons that provide certificates of character of Khan alongside the office in the staff kitchen. Whether applicant Khan is known or unknown, or a known unknown, police must arrange an interview with those providing certificates alongside the oven in the staff kitchen. So that there be no doubt, etc., as to the identity of person under discussion, being Khan, the photograph must also be sworn under oath alongside the oven in the staff kitchen. If reason is to be provided that the applicant, being Khan, is known to the police for any reason whatsoever, he will be denied an exemption certificate alongside the oven in the staff kitchen. Additionally note, the handprints of Bhuta Khan, both left and right, are on the back hereof, along with photographic evidence, both portrait and left and right profile. And finally, testimony provided by Latuf and Khalil, importers of fancy goods, at 262 to 264 Exhibition Street, Melbourne, 16th of June 1916. We wish herein to humbly certify that we have known Mr. Bhuta Khan for something like 15 years. Khan is honest, Khan is industrious, Khan bathes regularly, in fact several times a day, we are led to believe. Khan keeps himself, with the exception of providing occasional polite discourse on matters excluding politics. He defers, He looks a man in the eye with due deference and respect, and we conclude, therefore, that Khan is harmless, and therefore no harm should come to him for now. Additionally, note, the handprints of Bhuta Khan, both left and right, are on the back hereof, along with photographic evidence, both portrait and left and right profile. Thank you.
Hey everyone. I'm missing an S, but it's Curly Saunders. Curly like curly hair, not spelt that way. It's an Aboriginal word you find in South Australia and Western Australia, and it's the name for a little coot. Mum thinks I'm cute, so I'll roll with it. I wanted to start with an acknowledgement. Didjuri kora ni, nya acknowledge mirani gananugang, kulin boringiling, kulin nura madung, boringiling yangu. I acknowledge that I'm standing here today on the clans of many people and pay my respects to all of those clans and to all mob and our elders in the room and to my fellow storytellers. It's always special to share yarns with people I really respect and admire. I wanted to start with a very short one from Bindi. It's a collection for children, a verse novel about caring for country. This is called Bedroom Wall Mural 2. When our songs become silent, the dulang will run dry. So we yugumba and yugumba and yugumba. So we sing and we sing and we sing. And I think when we speak out poetry, we're putting a little echo out into the universe, something to keep our stories and our ideas, our thoughts alive, and I'm very grateful to be sharing some of those with you. I've got a new collection coming out this year with Mangabala. It's called Returning, and it's a visual poetry collection drawing together text with images and a range of different medium. And I wanted to read Blak is Beautiful. It's after Sonia Renee Taylor, who you should go read, who said that the body is not an apology. They didn't have Auntie or Sister Girl on the cover of Vogue. Marie Claire and Vanity Fair fronted models with straight hair and skin lighter than mine, crisped in tanning tanks to acquire our melanin-dipped limbs while denying the racism we faced behind the scenes. They had visible ribs, Botox lips, overnight nose jobs and tummies who got sucked in and then tucked as they aged. No stretch marks, no greys. Everything monetized to beautify. Wax and peroxide to bleach and pluck. Lipo and dieting to shuck and drain. Everything not beautiful away. Tide gone out. Skinny ankles meander through rocky outcrops, where young uncles teach nephews how to pocket knife shuck delicate oysters for family. Full-breasted mums nurse chubby bubs on near-ripe pig face laced sand. Everywhere, juicy brown lips part for earth's generous gifts and chins meet sun. Saltwater sustenance becomes human. Afternoon clouds blush at young ones who paint themselves with ochre. Sea spray carries away their giggles. When it dries, they wash the crackled patterns in shallow waves, and cream curdles billow, fogging nannies wade nearby with earthly art. She twists and sways, teaching her littles to dance for Bangajan. Entranced, everywhere they look, they see Blak is beautiful. Thank you. Title was originally written for a performance on Gadigal country with Jack River, who had brought together a bunch of speakers to explore what the vision of us would look like. And at the time, the floods of 2021 were happening, and the women's marches were also really loud on TV. And so there was this conversation that I was witnessing between gendered violence and climate violence, and the need to fight against both of these things. So this is title. I offer it with a softening that It does talk about gendered violence, and as a supporter and a survivor, I know this, and I'm thinking of anybody in the room who also knows it too. Oscillating between channels, we watch them victim blame La Nina and her trade winds which surge east, drawing cool water from the deep to surface Earth's heat. On screen, pollies are indiscreet with euphemism, casting climate change as hot flush, assault as allegation. We change the station, understanding that denial and gendered violence are everywhere. Here, they gaslight the sky, silence the cries and rain that flow heavy over our mother, while another mum wades waters to rescue her own. Soon, the torrent will subside, but nothing could hide the line of a tide from the moontime memory of a woman. On the news, they justify worth with relation, mistaken that for protection, a female needs a title. Nura responds with tidal overflow of her own. She takes up space, evacuates homes, raises dam walls and closes the coast. Nura shows that she could never be too much, encouraging trust in the swell of rage that arrives in us as charges pressed. Our en masse march, allies by survivors, 100-year flood, when Nura says, enough is enough, the whole world stops to listen. And like her, our vision for justice will not go unheard. They cannot disregard the waves of change we make when we rise like water, mother, women, one. Thank you. Maybe one more spicy one, and then something softening. This is the system. I travelled through lots of countries last year. I had the blessing of going through the Territory and Western Australia and sitting with lots of mob. And while I was out there, I was in a dry community, and with a New South Wales licence, I could still buy a drink, but uncle from the same town could not. And yeah, I was just really upset at seeing that kind of control over our communities, and especially as a response to the poison and greed of, white ways on black land. So this is the system. A cab, but this one smiles at me as I enter the bottle shop. He checks my ID, sees I'm an out-of-towner, waves me on. No worries for Corries. As I leave with some ciders under arm, uncle is turned away. Wrong postcode, see? No relief from the addiction created by a white man's greed and poison, no understanding for his habit, and the inherited hurt it eases. Just a wave off. Move along, mate. Our eyes meet for a beat, with the guilt and grief of existing in this violent settler colonial state. As someone of country, as someone off country, we part ways at the sounds of sirens. In the car park, a 10-year-old child is taken away in a paddy wagon. Their mother screams in lingo with occasional translations for officers. He's just a kid. I said, let my baby go. I said, let my baby go. On the way back to camp, I pull over, pour all the cider out, crush the cans and let a potion of heavy tears and booze pool and soak in dry season soil. Spoilt ants leave roadkill remains with an eagle across the way. They gather at the sticky red billabong, savouring the offering, their swaying bodies signalling none of us are safe in the system. Thank you. This is my last one. I'm supporting someone, a survivor at the moment, through a really tricky time in their life, and I wrote this poem this week while sipping a coffee, so this is for anyone who needs it, with a lot of love. On the days when your trauma parts are louder than your grace, when your face contorts with hate, when rage becomes you, when you've enacted every hack but the pain still remains and you reach for a vice, anything to make life just bearable. I will stay by your side. Someone to remind you of the light inside you, always worthy of love and belonging. And not for your productivity or offerings to others in the world, but for your darling soul spark, a flame in the darkest moments, a potent wish of ancestors, God, the universe. Embodied like this only for a lifetime, always one with the divine, and inherently enough. Thank you.
Jingari, it's my cultural obligation to acknowledge the traditional custodians of this land that we're on today and pay my deep respects. I'm the last reader today. I'm EVN, and I just wanted to really just pay my respects to the other 5 readers, and to this evening, is it afternoon or evening? This has been a really incredible event, and I'm really privileged to be part of it. As well as I wanted to thank Blak and Bright for inviting me, and thank Australian Poetry and the Cultural Fund for supporting this event. So I'm going to read some poems from my book called Throat. This poem's about a shopping centre called Chermy. Westfield Chermy is one of our sacred sites. Gammon. My grandparents came to Chermy in the early 50s. They had a house on Fee Street, where my mum and her siblings grew up. They moved there after the 2 older children were born in Waco. Mum was the second born in Fee Street. The shopping centre first opened in 1957. Chermside Drive-In Shopping Centre. Now it's the largest single-level shopping centre in Australia. It expanded and expanded and expanded over years. Mum remembers an oval surrounded by bush, swimming pool in the middle. On the weekends, she and her brothers and sisters had the choice, go to the pool or the cinema. The Dawn opened in 1928, shut in 2005, the last single-screen cinema in Brisbane. Round Chermy's, everything's changed, some parts unrecognisable, but the houses near Fee Street, a pocket has stayed the same old little houses. On Fee Street, all the family's kids played together. Their names Arnie will know. The bush was all open, could walk to the bush through to Geebung and Aspley to see friends, go to school. Geebung Primary, all you had to worry about was snakes, never wore shoes. Geebung Camp among the trees, and Geebung Groves, the roads are old roads. Nanny's warm arm against mine, Mum and Nanny touching by the bicky shop next to the butcher's, strong, deadly women ready to take on Chermy at peak hour on a Saturday morning. Pride of knowing where every shop is, always notice a new one coming up, know the specials, keep the vouchers, push Nanny on the motor scooter, push Nanny along, save for Christmas. The decorations are different each year. Push Nanny up the hill, tell your cousin you're coming over, spend 4 hours looking for an outfit, go to Best and Less, get some undies. Nanny always bought your bonds, so those girls need the best, keep the docket, see if it fits. Each year our bodies change, we get older in changing rooms. We try to fit into jeans and schools, just trying to fit in. Chermy's always home. New swimmers, birthdays at the pool, cinemas make us cry sometimes. Mum will kill me true if I don't separate my recycling before I leave the food court. My brother is up playing pinball. He refuses to give me his tokens and lollies. He'll be saving them for weeks. Westfield's sacred to us. Women are the gatherers, make our houses safe, make our families safe. My mum, grandmother, aunties took care of me good. I never had to worry about anything much. Protected us when we were jarjums. Now we can, with greater ease, make our own mistakes. Auntie buys me Belgian chocolates and Christmas cake each year. We buy stuff, we need stuff. We were starving when we walked up to Mima Street, the hot grass over the fence. Auntie makes us sandwich and cuppa, black, always black. Carried over shells and into tills, and by the tide, I've had buyer's regret, and I've also experienced lust for t-shirts I will always remember that never went on sale. We get excited the flasher it gets. We are proud of our Chermy. There's been so much change and we are weary. Haven't even been inside Fee Street, have just been carried into the stories, stood outside since I was born. Ask your auntie, she's the youngest. Is your memory going? That's what your dad says. Best house in the street, sitting on the back steps, eating ice cream. Ha! And sitting on the windowsill, eating an ice block in the school holidays, a long time ago. The tree covers the house now. I don't know where to go now. Arnie says, couldn't get me off the dunny, always reading Annie Morse. One day I'll see small circles in the sky. The aliens will arrive in what's left of the forest, small bit of park compared to what was a kid space, a cricket ground, the grass where we took Max to puppy preschool, and he got his certificate into dog adulthood. One day the aliens will arrive. I will show my new lover Westfield Chermside, tell her it's sacred and it must not be harmed. The inside are shiny things, delicate pathways, like the slight slope up to Coles with the warm popcorn scent, all the exits to Maya. I will show my new alien lover and she will understand. My love for Chermy. You haven't lived life on Earth since you've been to Harris Scarf and seen their prices and met my family. My fam are pretty deadly. I want you to meet them, maybe at the Chinese restaurant, and we'll hold hands to the bus interchange and catch the 333. Chermy Shopping Centre is one of our sacred sites, Gammon. Called these days a major suburb, a new CBD, the first Apple store. Have you seen the new food court? We haven't really started buying online. We get excited the flasher it gets. We are proud of our Chermy. There's been so much change and we are weary. 1867 in the Gympie gold rush, settler invaders got stuck going north on the way to the gold fields, found trouble in the creek, Downfall Creek. The rain don't feel like rain when you're running from the car park to the entrance. Summer storms sometimes cause puddles on the floor. Auntie tells me not to slip outside the bookstore. Reminds me that I'm wearing thongs several sizes too big. Water birds, always birds, still follow the water, and large mobs of lorikeets get drunk each night outside Chermy like teenagers. From the park across from Arnie's place, you could see the church, the Prince Charles Hospital, and the best sunsets. I jogged here, I swam here, like Nanny and Mama and Arnie also lived here. My place in Chermy during uni on Kingsmill Street, opposite the library. They knock my block down to build high-rise. Arnie walks past and keeps an eye out for me. Chermy is rising, going up in the world, rising. At Downfall Creek, the whitefellas are falling, and we are rising to the airspace, to the sky. Thanks. That's an important poem for me as someone who grew up on Turrbal Yagara, but Malanjali from the Yugambeh Nation, and having 3 generations on Turrbal country, and having my grandmother's voice and my auntie and my mum's voice in that poem is something that is really, it's how I kind of like to write, to have those kind of multi-voices and that honouring, even if it's a shopping centre, it's our family and it's our connection. I will end with just one short poem, and this poem is, it's called All That Is Love All That Is Loved Can Be Saved, and I just decided to write it, to read it today because it reminded me of my friend who once said to me, I don't have my language, and I said, nothing is ever lost, and so this is called All That Is Loved Can Be Saved. You might find language is inside you, shiny and speckled like a rock that wants someone to sit on it. You might find, instead of an empty silence, your ears filled with wind and sound. Birds hold conversations thousands of years old. Your loves love your ancient thoughts, and they have come to you. It could be a house. It could be the wrinkles in the hands of a woman who knows your grandfather. It could be the rain cloud above an equally promising body of water. When you speak, you are in listening. When you dream, you are in dreaming. Close your eyes and feel the space. What is it saying? It could be what you do when you are broken. It could be what you do when you are safe. You might find language is inside you, shiny and speckled like a rock. Thank you, and please thank you to all the other readers. Thank you so much.